695 Patriots. So right now, the Benghazi hearings are going on, and we could take the feed, but for 2 hours of testimony, you're probably going to get 5 minutes that is actually worthy of putting on the air. Adam Kredo from the Washington Free Beacon has been following this. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, and that's some great music there.
Thank you. I know you guys had a big punk and hardcore scene in D.C. in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, absolutely. Rollins, some of the other fellows started here.
Oh, okay. Now we're getting on common ground. I like it. I'm watching on C-SPAN Elijah Cummings talking to some of these guys. Is this getting split down partisan lines where ICE is asking, for things that sort of go against the administration's narrative, and then the Democrats are trying to call into question their record or their character?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's actually pretty shocking to see this at a whistleblowing hearing where there's been a lot of hype about getting factually accurate, truthful testimony. Finally, after all these months, you see Cummings pretty much trying to discredit them before they even speak by saying, well, they're contradicting the administration, so let's not put too much value into it. I think that's really trying to politicize this in an unbelievable way. At least listen to what they have to say first.
Now, look, I'll tell you, I like the Washington Free Beacon. I'll give you an example of a story that you guys covered that no one else really did, and that was the story you did on TRICARE with the headline Trashing TRICARE. And if it were not for the Washington Free Beacon, we wouldn't have known that Obama is moving billions of dollars out of TRICARE and into Obamacare. So I like the reporting at your outlet.
Well, thank you.
But this is what I don't understand. Why would Democrats not have an interest in getting to the bottom of this? What is the need to call out the resume of Gregory Hicks or Mark Thompson or Eric Nordstrom? These are guys who had all the credibility in the world 5 minutes before the Benghazi attack. Why is their credibility being called into question now?
That's right. They do and continue to have credibility. I mean, one needs only to look at their titles and the fact that they were either on the ground or working the phones all night as this occurred. I mean, these really are heroes during this entire episode, and I've been listening to them, before I got on the phone with you, and the testimony is heart-wrenching at times. And to see some of the Democratic officials try to discredit them in order to either boost the Obama administration or carry water for it is quite shocking. I really think it is, just because you have people up there whose friends, Christopher Stevens and others, were killed, and tried to get them the help that they needed so desperately at the time, and were rebuffed. I mean, these are some of the revelations that are coming out here, and it's quite shocking to try to discredit them in order to protect the administration on this front. Democrats and Republicans alike should.
But weren't Democrats lied to as well? When the president, when Susan Rice and Hillary Clinton and Jay Carney were saying this was a YouTube video, they were lying to Democrats as well.
Yeah, that's right. They were making them look pretty foolish, giving these false talking points out and perpetuating them and repeating them on the Sunday shows and elsewhere. They made a lot of their colleagues in the Democratic Party look quite foolish. So you would think there would be an urge to get to the bottom of it and set the record straight, but we're just not seeing that at this point.
Adam Kredo from the Washington Free Beacon is joining us. What are some of the most damning things that you're hearing? I mean, this thing about Special Operations Forces being told to stand down, yes, there was drone video. No, there wasn't drone video. That's a big one. What the president knew, if he knew anything, that's another big one. So what is the most damning stuff that you're hearing right now?
Well, look, we're early on. I think these are going to go on for a while. These witnesses all seem very willing to answer questions as truthfully and accurately as they can. But I'll tell you a couple shocking takeaways that I found just in the beginning few minutes of this. One, Thompson, one of the witnesses, mentions here that the the White House was notified with ideas and plans to send backup to get maybe special operations forces and others in there, and they said that to Thompson, he's the acting deputy assistant secretary for counterterrorism, so he would have been in charge of these operations. They cut him out of the process and said to him they already discussed it, and the option was quote unquote taken off the table. I found that pretty shocking. Why would they not send troops immediately if they had the ability to? And Thompson revealed that he would have easily been able to coordinate such an operation. The other thing that I found very interesting was from Gregory Hicks, who's the Foreign Service officer over there, was on the ground actually in Libya at the time that there was advance warning given of these attacks or the possibility for these attacks. So this wasn't something that came out of the blue, as the administration said very early on, that it was a spontaneous reaction. There was actually warning signs beforehand.
There were 200 minor attacks from 48 different militia groups we're hearing. One of the attacks was on the Red Cross. The other one was directly at the embassy where they actually blew a hole in the gate. They blew open a hole in the gate. We know that one of the security teams had its contract not renewed and was taken off of security, and that Eric Nordstrom, the regional security officer, was asking for the contract to be renewed and even 12 more operatives to be brought in.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. This came out the first time that Nordstrom spoke, and he was the RSO at the time, and said that he was requesting this, that the requests went as high as Clinton. She must have seen these, and that they were not given to them. And there's even evidence that money for security in the region was cut even prior to this for multiple reasons. But look, I think this is just one of the revelations that are really going to force the Obama administration to actually answer questions. We still have members of Congress like Frank Wolf pushing for a select committee that would be a Watergate-style committee that could have subpoena power and bring some of these people like Clinton and others to testify, compel them to get in front and answer these follow-up questions, especially with what's coming to light now. They should be called in front of Congress.
I don't get Hillary Clinton saying, what difference does it make? When you're investigating why something happens, that's the difference. Why did this happen? What do you mean, what difference does it make? It means a lot. There's a huge difference between a spontaneous protest based on some stupid YouTube video and an organized and coordinated attack. How do you plan to find out what happened if you don't know why it happened?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, 100% there. I think that statement is going to come back to haunt Clinton, especially if she has greater political aspirations, the presidency, as we're all kind of thinking. Just seeing that video play over and over could be incredibly damaging to her.
Yeah, Joe Biden's going to be the one that uses it. Who are you kidding?
But look, I think aside from the political implications in her career, what she said is quite shocking. That does make, as you said, an absolute difference of whether the U.S. was prepared, whether this video was responsible, as they said. That's garbage. We know it wasn't. And for her to really continue to perpetuate that myth when she was in front of the panels on Congress, I think is really something that is going to linger over her.
You think this is my thinking without creating some. Here you have a president who is running for re-election. The economic numbers are not running in his favor. The unemployment rate has not been moved down by the stimulus package. The last thing you need is a September or October surprise. It felt like they just wanted to ride this out until the election. That there was the YouTube video, and we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to bring these people to justice. It didn't move his poll numbers one way or the other. On one side, you had the media elites who were not going to report on anything in any heavy rotation. They were going to report on it, but not in any way that was going to damage the president's chances at re-election. And then you had people like the Obama phone lady who just didn't care. I mean, let's be honest. This did not affect his poll numbers at all. It did not make his re-election any harder. And once he crossed that finish line, it was kind of like, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's multiple things going on here. One was the political implications of it, that the Obama administration would have been loath to discuss this in any sort of detail, lest they make themselves look incredibly bad in the lead up to a what could have been a tough election for them. But the aftermath in it, too, that after they won re-election, well, what really was the motivation to get to the bottom of this and let this drag on? And luckily, we have had some people in the media that have been dogged and persistent and tried to cover this. We here at the Free Beacon have not let up on it. I and my colleagues continue to cover it, and we're even seeing evidence that some of the CBS reporters and others have been told from the brass upstairs to stop covering it, that it's too much. So we have these competing interests here, even in the media.
Well, I have a feeling that I don't know. I don't agree with John Bolton. This is going to bring down the administration.
No.
But it is going to give Republicans absolute moral authority to keep this going now that they have 3 whistleblowers. Adam, I got to take my break here coming up on the top of the hour. Adam Kredo, Washington Free Beacon, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, 1-866